my goodness. YouTube, what's up? I'm trying to get ready to work out, and I want to come on and say hi to y'all before I do. Basically my motto, except it's more like low carb, but yes, give me the carbs sometimes. I'm very tired. I worked the last couple days. The one day wasn't too bad, but yesterday was pretty hectic, which is usually the opposite. Usually Mondays are more busy than Tuesdays, but Tuesday was definitely Mondaying for me. My amazing husband already did most of the dishes, which I made quite a bit. I usually do because I try to cook from home a lot of times because it's healthier usually. By the way, I tried this because it's like low carb. It's low carb sugar, low carb soda. This is probably my favorite flavor by them. This is okay. The other flavors I'm not as big a fan of. The grape's pretty good. I don't know if they sell them though, like I've mostly seen it in stores as like a mixed lot of flavors, but if they sold just the grape, I would get it. So this sugar, well, it's kind of in my ADHD brain what soda is. But anyway, this only has 13 grams. My favorite low carb soda that I've tried is, I have it in my garage. I think it's called Izzy or something. You can get it at Costco, and it also has like multiple flavors. It's in a skinnier can. That one's really good, and I think it only has like 13 grams of carbs or whatever. And while yes, I mostly just drink coffee, which is what I'm drinking right now, and water with like my supplements, and I don't really enjoy the taste of water, and I know it's good for you, and that's why I do different things. But once in a while, I'd like something that tastes a little different than diet soda and flavored water. So once in a while, I'll drink one of those low carb sodas. Hello, Saudi Arabia. It blows my mind that people come on here and they're like, I'm from China, I'm from Pakistan, whatever. That is crazy to me. That's crazy to me that I'm talking to somebody like on the other side of the planet right now. Like, don't know. Isn't technology amazing? So my neck is killing me. I don't know if it's a combination of stress. I'm pretty sure I know what it is. A combination of a lot of stress. I cleaned the whole house, and I like deep cleaned it this weekend in like a day and a half. So I know my back was killing me. And now I think my back's okay now, but my neck, and I think too, like I got new pillows from Costco, and I think they're a little too stiff. It's hard to find a perfect pillow, and I screwed it up. I should have just bought some from Target like I did a couple years ago. They have good pillows for like cheap. And maybe it's just the brand I got from Costco, because usually Costco's pretty good. Hello. Trust me, I'm all about Costco, but these pillows, hate from Japan? What? What does that mean? Hey, this is a no hate zone. That's not very nice. That's not very nice. So yeah, if I'm moving a little stiff, it's because my neck is killing me. Last night I had to sleep like, this is also how you know you're older than 30. You sleep the wrong way and your neck is like, but last night, I just slept like this, like on my back, which I don't normally do unless I'm pregnant, but the pain was so bad, I just slept like this. I did take a couple aspirin this morning. It seemed to kind of help. I might have to take some ibuprofen later. But I'm still going to try to work out, but I'm not going to do any like abs or anything that's going to irritate my neck more. So I was planning on just like doing my speed walking and like, I don't know, legs or arm exercise, something like that. Maybe arms. What a random hate from Japan. What does that mean? What does that mean? I did get, speaking of flavored, like low carb drinks, I did get Costco's brand. I normally get the ice brand, which is good. Yes, I do. Yes. Shouldn't we all? You have it in your power to be like, I'm going to be miserable, or I'm going to try to be happy, even if you're not happy. Try to be happy. That's what I suggest. Because I've been miserable before and not even tried. And guess what? You're just going to get more miserable. So, anyway. But this is the Costco brand. And I feel like it tastes similar to the Ice brand. I think that's what it's called. Aw, true. Although sometimes people come on here and they're like, you need to laugh more. And I do have a... Look, life is ridiculous. It just kind of is. And I appreciate that the older I've gotten. Like how like life is so random sometimes and all that. Random, but also it's a small world at the same time. But I will say, I think because I'm a very brain type of person, sometimes it's hard for me to like laugh at simple humor, but just remember, like, that's something that helps me get through tough times sometimes, is like, this is just, like, if you're ever having a rough day, just remember, like, it's all ridiculous anyway. Oh, that's good. And just remember the absurdity of whatever it is, because like, I'm sorry, but anyway, and I look back now and I'm like, why was I so stressed out as like a server, like a waitress, or like some of my past jobs? Because I tend to like put a lot of weight on my shoulder no matter what I do. I want to do everything perfect and I care too much. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, I try to trust my gut a little more, and that helps me. Try to trust my gut and realize, like, at the end of the day, there's only so much we can control, right? Like, try to find the humor. Try to find the humor. Because most things are not that serious at the end of the day. Is this another brand I like that's like a low carb San Pellegrino? But you gotta be careful because sometimes I've bought the kind that is not low carb, that has like 30 grams of sugar by accident. And yes, I do like how it tastes possibly better, but like one day I was drinking it and I'm like, why does this taste so good? And then I realized, oh my God, again, talking about humor, like, of course it tastes better because I accidentally, my ADHD self, bought the kind that's not low carb. Like, if you can laugh at your silly mistakes and stuff like that. we can change. That's true. That's what I try to do. That's honestly. So, so for instance, one of the things you can control to a degree is taking care of yourself, mentally and physically, emotionally. So that's what I try to do. And talk to other people about doing that. Ugh. But I did get done already. I know it's almost kind of late, but it was hard for me to get going. I was so tired. But I'm very proud of myself because I did something in my control. Take care of, because of my ADHD, a lot of things stress me out that I feel like probably people who don't have ADHD don't struggle with. And that would be like stuff like paperwork or office stuff really stresses me out. Probably why I don't have a typical like 9 to 5 job is because that stuff, like, I don't know, very hard for me. But as a small business owner, I recognize like you have to do audits, you have to do inventory, you have to do things like there. It is important, but it stresses me out. Like, I'm not good with technology. I'm not good with like fine print details because of my ADHD. So I had clearances I had to do that were expiring, and they sent me like so many emails, and that type of stuff like stresses me out when you like send me more and more stuff of, hey, you gotta get this done, hey, you gotta get this done. And they're like mile long emails. That type of stuff would normally send me in panic mode, and I just get like that type of email is like the worst type for somebody personally speaking with ADHD, because I just need the down and dirty. Like, if you're giving me instructions, do not give me a book. That stresses me out so much, the way my brain processes. Like, I know I'm going to miss half of what you're saying. But I did it first thing this morning. I did it before I drank coffee because I didn't want to get stressed out like I used to do. And that way I was a little less hyper and I could like pay attention and not get so stressed out. So I did that first thing, got it done. I went slowly, which is something that my brain works so fast. It is hard, like crazy. No, but my brain goes a mile a minute. So I tried to do all that before I got running. And that is like, if you struggle with that, I would suggest do that before you drink coffee and stuff like that. And when I chose not to do it at work because I knew this is just going to stress me out. Work is stressful enough as it is. I got to be paying attention, because one of my coworkers was like saying how they didn't get reimbursed because they couldn't figure out, I don't know if they have ADHD. Yep. Can you hear me? Use audio apps for learning. Anyway, they were saying they didn't get reimbursed. I don't know if they have ADHD too, but they like couldn't figure out, because the clearances are like, you have to go step by step, and there's a million steps, and there's like, and I understand there has to be, because we don't want people working in healthcare or in jobs where you're working with the public who have, certain histories or problems. They should not be. So it should be very, like, what do you call it? It should be very matter of fact and blah, blah, blah. I get that. But it's very hard for people like me. And I think my coworker, I don't know. I don't know if they have ADHD. I'm not going to diagnose anybody. But they said they couldn't figure it out. So they just didn't get reimbursed. And I'm like, oh, well, you can probably submit like your receipt afterwards. And I know it's a pain in the butt, but there's probably a way to still get reimbursed if you couldn't figure out how to do the code reimbursement part. But she's like, I'm just not going to bother with it. And I understand that. Like, but me, I would be bothered because I don't like, there's one thing about me, if you don't know, I'm going to get my money. Like, I am, no, you're not going to rip me off or what. And I know they're not trying to rip us off, but it's very hard for people with ADHD sometimes to get reimbursed for things at work only because we don't we struggle with things like that, if that even makes sense. But I'm gonna figure out a way. But there's been a couple times where I've definitely been I missed something and then I didn't get reimbursed, like when I was in school for nursing. And I'm sure this probably happens all the time with people who have ADHD. Like, I didn't get reimbursed for my work because I didn't submit something like before school started, like a couple months ahead or something. And again, it wasn't like I did it on purpose. It was just like an ADHD oversight. Yeah, it cost me like a couple grand or something at least. And I went through all the channels to try to get reimbursed and wasted a lot of time. And at the end of the day, they're like, nope. I feel like the system is not designed. There's certain things that are not designed for people with ADHD and it works against us. And that really ticks me off. So I try not to let that happen. Even for little things, because it adds up at the end of the day, especially if it's happening all the time. And that was probably one of the worst instances I can think. But yeah, where I got a couple $1,000s at least not given just because of an ADHD thing. So is ADHD a disability? You could argue that it is, because there's definitely times where disadvantaged financially because of like certain things like that. But am I gonna come on here and cry me a river? No. I'm just saying in the future I hope some of the processes take that into account, that people with ADHD struggle with certain things like that, and we should be able to be reimbursed at a later date if we can prove that we paid or whatever, that we just missed something in the paperwork or whatever. That would be nice. That would be nice. I'm sure there's a lot of people with ADHD who are like, yeah, I got, financially ripped off from this or that. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's been, like, ripped off. What I mean by ripped off, I mean, like, missed something on a dotted line and then had to pay way more than they should have, or not been reimbursed by their company, or I'm sure it happens a lot. Hello. Just putting away the dishes and trying not to move my neck too much because my neck is killing me. I've had this happen before. Well, a couple times I've had this where, like, my neck gets so stiff. Like, one time I think it was from I slept on the couch, and I don't know if it was, like, abdominal exercises or what, but I had to go to work, and, like, my neck was just... So I don't know if I have, like, neck issues or this is just getting older. I have no idea. But I know I cannot sleep on the couch or like a hard pillow or whatever because it will just screw up my neck for like a couple days. Are y'all watching the P. Diddy documentary? Like every time, me and my husband are like, they can't make a worse documentary about a worse monster, and then like a worse documentary comes out. But that is like our jam. We don't really agree on watching a lot of the same type of movies or whatever, but we both like to watch documentaries about horrible people. Why? I don't know, but we both love it. Or like, and kind of like conspiracy-ish. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Back in the day, I got suspended, I think once. I was, a lot of people would be surprised, but I was a troubled youth, and I turned my life around when I got older. But me and my sister were hell on wheels when we were younger. Hell on wheels, that's how I describe us. Well, that's good, Kayla. Yeah, I had to do a lot to get to where I am now. I was not always a ray of sunshine. Some of that was my home life. I come from a very dysfunctional family. I talk about it on here sometimes, but some of it was I needed to do work on myself also. And a lot of troubled youth, I think, just don't have a good, they might not have a good example in their life to know. The thing about troubled youth is they might not have a good role model or a good like compass steering them. You know, when you're younger, you're just trying to figure everything out, and you might not be making decisions wisely when you're young, when you don't have a good support system. I was lucky because I did have, I think one of the ways I did turn out okay was I did have some good support, even with all the dysfunction going on, and trauma and stuff. I also went to therapy. Like, one thing I think my mom did right was she got me in therapy when I was young. And I feel like that changed some of my outlook of like why I was doing some of the things I was doing, and it helped me like process things differently. But nobody can really change you unless you want to change. So that change has got to come from within, and you gotta sometimes look at yourself and say, well, what do I have control over? What can I do? And you know, it's not easy, but it's worth it. I was in a dark place in my life when I was younger. I realized that some of the issue was me as well. Especially when I was like, the situation was starting to change. Well, it had changed me in the process, and then it takes time to get out of that dark space. Well, I had to do work on me. How did I do that? I journaled. I meditated. I know I don't really love meditation, but like doing it, I don't do it now because it's not my favorite thing, but I needed to do some of it. Taking better care of myself. Just like the whole talk about positive mindset. I had to do that. I had to find things that made me happy again. And stop looking at the world as such a, like, woe is me, and I don't know. But the situation hadn't changed, would I still be a bad person? I don't know. I don't like to think about that. But luckily, I was able to get out of that place in my life. And learn to love yourself, too. That's something else. You gotta love yourself. If you don't love yourself, how can you love anybody else? How can you love life? Can you hear me? Sometimes there's like problems with the speaker. But I don't think I have a lot of people in my line. That's fine. If this reaches one person and one person gets something out of it, other than me, because I find it therapeutic talking about it, then good. Then my work's done. My work for the day is done. I call it work, but I'm not getting paid, but that's okay. I don't care. I don't care. I enjoy coming on here and talking to people all over the world. And hopefully that somebody relates to what I'm saying. And you think you have to do big changes to change yourself. You really don't. You really got to start small. And it's like you drop a rock in a pond and the ripple effect. Like, you start small and then other things start changing and then other things. And then before you know it, you're like, I got my smile back. I'm doing this now. That's whenever I've been in a dark place, that's how I've got to get out of it. It's doing one thing. Do one little thing, and then you can get to the next step and the next step. And then you're not really thinking hard about it. It just becomes like just your life. But it takes time. I saw it when my dad with the stroke, he was in a very dark place for probably a couple years from the stroke. And the stroke causes depression to begin with mentally. It changes your chemistry, / the fact he knew he was different, / everything. But guess what? If my dad could get out of that bad spot, you can get out of the bad spot, because he learned to control what he could do. He learned to use the other side of his body that was not paralyzed. He learned to say hi to everybody in the facility. He became such a positive person. And my dad was not a positive person, let me tell you. If my dad could change, there's hope for nearly anybody. There's hope for nearly anybody, because he was not a very nice person most of his life. And he changed that. He did. He did. He couldn't change that he had a stroke. Could not change that he was living in a nursing home. Couldn't change that. What he could do was he could wheel himself outside every day because he loved nature. He learned to use the side of his body he could use. He learned to communicate the best he could with aphasia. He did all that stuff. So don't tell me you can't do something when my dad did that. No, it's not my first time. This ain't my first rodeo. Honey, I've been around the block a little bit. I'm nearly 40 years old. This ain't my first time going live. Anyways, that's my spiel for the day. Thank you for joining me on my TED Talk. I gotta go work out. Been on here almost 30 minutes. I hope, is it Kaler or Kayer? I hope that helps you. But yeah, I used to be getting in trouble all the time when I was younger, and I was on a fast track to nowhere when I was younger. But I got myself together, and if you can do that, if you can change there's nothing harder in the world, I think, than changing yourself. So if you can do that, you can pretty much do anything. If you can learn to change yourself. Change your mindset. Change your mindset and it changes everything. My cat is so snuggly and cute right now. Okay. Yeah, I gotta get going too. I gotta ship stuff out. I gotta answer a question about something I'm selling. So I gotta go to the basement. Then go to the post office. I gotta work out. I gotta take my daughter to the doctor's. I did get done work stuff. What else do I have to do? I gotta finish Christmas gift buying and getting that organized. Christmas will be here in, how many days? This ain't right. So it's the 10th. So what, 15 more days? 15 more days till... Can you see that? Isn't this adorable? I think I got this at like a thrift store. 15 days till Christmas, y'all. All right, enjoy your holiday season. Thanks for joining me. Bye, guys. And please subscribe if you'd like.